Okay, moving on. I'm going to break this down a little clearer and I'm going to show you how the five senses are all about you. If we look and understand what we are taught in school, in academia, we have the sun. The first planet out from the sun would be Mercury, then Venus, then the Earth, the third rock from the sun. Then you have Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. Okay, the other planets, which you have is Neptune and Uranus and so forth, they're irrelevant. They're not in the picture right now. I'll explain those later in another series. But the point that I'm trying to get you to understand is you have one, two, three. Get it? One, two, three. But we're told that no, everything is a heliocentric model. So it's one, two, three, four, five, six. That's not right. This is not number six. This is the seventh planet, the seventh wandering star. Let me break it down this way. I do not ascribe to that the Earth revolves around the sun. I ascribe to a geocentric model of the universe, exactly the way that the Bible presents it, and the Bible conveys that the Earth is flat. The sun revolves around it. So if you want to look at it that way, this is it. So in conception, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is number 7. Ergo, in Hebrew, the seventh day of the week, Saturday, or in Hebrew, is called Shabbat. Shabbat. Look it up, the etymology. They're talking about the seventh day of the week, the seventh. But they won't tell you that. They very cleverly hide and disguise it through the days of the week, and all of our days of the week are named after planets. Look it up. Most of them come from a French etymology. That's neither here nor there. I'm getting sidetracked here. Okay, so the point, what I'm trying to say is, and where we're going with this, is Saturn. The seventh day of the week is named after this planet or this wandering star, or that's what they want you to perceive and understand. But that's not necessarily reality. It's a concept. You are the Saturn, and you are ringed. You are a slave. Okay, you say, well, what do you mean by that? Let's look at in the Bible. Okay, in the Old Testament law of a bondman, also known as a slave and or a servant. Look these up. Exodus 21, 1 through 26, Leviticus 25, 39 through 55, or Deuteronomy 15, 12 through 18. When you read and understand this, this talks about how when people were bought and sold as slaves, our concept of slavery today and what we're taught based on the Civil War and so forth like that and other aspects of slavery that still go on in the world today are not what they were like in the Bible. Under biblical law, yeah, you could buy and sell slaves, but you bought them and you sold them and you treated them like they were your own family. You did the right thing by them. I'm going to have to do a whole study on this. In fact, if you had a slave and you beat them, they were your property. And if they were able to get up, and continue functioning, well, you beat them like you give a kid a whooping. But if you beat him and you actually put his eye out, guess what? All that money you paid for him, say you paid equivocation of today's terms of $50,000. Guess what? You put his eye out, the law is clear. Because you cost him his life, you just forfeited all that money. He gets to go free. You beat him and you knock his tooth out, guess what? You just forfeited all that money. You get to go free. You beat him, and you caused him to die because you beat him so bad, guess what? You got the death penalty. But he was my property, he's a slave. No, it's not the same as what we have and understand today from the Civil War and slavery around us. They beat him and they did things to punish them like I would do to my child. Now, I would beat my child's butt, but the way we read it and understand it from our paradigm is skewed in the Bible. That's not what they're talking about. They're not talking about being mean and being a bully. They're talking about, hey, you did something wrong, or you were trying to do something wrong, so you were punished. But again, if you killed them, you got the death penalty yourself. Read this and understand what's going on. So back to my point of why I'm talking about a slave, okay, and why you are depicted as a slave. Deuteronomy, again, 15, 12 through 18, this is verse 17. Then thou shalt take an awl and thrust it through his ear unto the door. and he shall be thy servant forever. And also unto thy maidservant thou shalt do likewise. What's this talking about? What's my point? Well, if you were able to be redeemed, or at the end of the 6 years, coming into the seventh, and the time that you were able to be freed from your slavery, your time of service, or your debt, you had the opportunity to go free. But if this guy loved you and treated you with respect and dignity, and you knew, I don't have the education, I don't have the wherewithal to really go out and start my own business or my own farm, this guy's got plenty. I, I just want to stay, and I want to continue working for this man. He took care of you. He gave you provisions, everything. So you could say, you know what? I don't want to go out on my own. I want to remain your servant, bondsman, slave. It's all the same word in the Hebrew, forever. And he was to take you before the judges, ergo the rulers, and you were to profess it. And then he was to take and run your ear through. I don't know if it was the lobe or where it was, but to run your ear through with an awl. And again, it's spelled differently now. This is out of the King James. With an awl. An awl looked like an ice pick. Okay? And basically, your ear was pierced. You were a slave to that man for the rest of your life. And your family was as well. Read it and understand. Now, don't misunderstand me. There are rules in the law for Hebrews, and there are rules in the law for the sojourners or the strangers that lived among you. A little bit different, okay? But anyway you looked at it, you were serving a dude. You were a slave. So what they're telling you, in other words, if you were in Hebrew times back in the day and you saw someone with an earring, guess what? You knew they were owned. How about that? Under the Hebrew people. So what they're showing you and telling you is you're a slave. You're a slave to your five senses. The sphere, the circle. If you don't know what I'm talking about now, go back and watch the Mystery Babylon 101 series. The sphere is your mind, the circle. What controls and governs your mind are your five senses, your perceptible reality. You're a slave to your perceptible reality, your five senses in your mind. Do you get it? Your five senses, they perfectly make the star. And I'll break this down in the next video. But you also have to have the mind. You get it? You're a slave. Next series I'll do is the cube. The cube is you. You are the cube. You are Saturn. You're a slave to it. Your desires come from your senses. Let's look at a couple verses here. Jeremiah 17:9 through 10. The heart is deceitful above all things and deceptively wicked. Who can know it? I, the Lord, search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doing. God's right there telling you. Your heart is deceptively wicked. Your desires are based on your senses, your five senses, and how your mind processes them. Matthew 15:19 through 20. For out of the heart proceeds evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornication, thefts, false witness, blasphemies. These are the things which defile a man. You get it? Your five senses and how your brain interprets them and how you hunger and crave and desire things in this flesh walk is what defiles you. Because you crave and want and can't live without. Whether it be sex or food or, oh, I've got to go get this tattoo. Oh, I've got to have that car. Oh, I've got to have this latest, fashionista wardrobe. Living your life to gain the world and lose your soul is what's going to send you to hell. Mark chapter 7 verses 20 through 23. And he said, that which cometh out of a man, that defileth the man. For from within, out of the heart of men proceeds evil thoughts, adulteries, fornication, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within and defile a man. You get it? The burning heart. You get it? The burning heart, that what comes out of your heart, the passions that you have. Why do you covet? Because, oh, you love, oh my gosh, I got to have a car like that. Why do you murder? Oh, I'm so angry with him. What he's done to me. He's made me angry. Why do you do things to be a thief? Oh, I love it. I got to have it. So I take it. Do you get it? This one here is interesting. When you do the study on this, an evil eye, basically what it's saying, you're double-minded. Instead of looking at life the way God wants you to do, as a bestowal of flourishing life, just being upright, honest, true, steadfast, flourishing, we want to look around and cleave and crave that which we're drawn to. That's foreign to a lot of you. I know that doesn't make sense, but hopefully through these studies and through showing you this stuff, it'll make more and more sense. What I'm teaching you and what I'm showing you is completely foreign. Most people have never heard of any of this. We're brainwashed. From the time we hit the ground running, we're brainwashed. Our parents, unknowingly, most of them were duped into brainwashing us along the way. Man's five senses are what chain him to the bondage of the flesh. Yet man's five senses must be processed via man's faculties of thought. Thus, man's five senses, coupled with his mind, make up the complete experience of his perceptible reality. Think about it. This next slide, I'll break it down a little further. Or this next video, I'll break it down a little further. And hopefully this is going to start slowly but surely making sense. You are Saturn. Saturn is you. It's all about how to deceive you and keep you as a slave to their behest. Remember always, think Jesus.